Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Boring AFC. As you can see, I'm taking it old school today because today it was an old school result. George Graham somewhere is smiling. It was 1-0 to the boring Arsenal. And actually, it goes very nicely with our four other 1-0 results in the Premier League this season. Today's result takes it to 5. Our other 1-0 results were on the first day of the season away at United, 1-0, courtesy of Calafiori, 1-0 away at Fulham, courtesy of Trossard, 1-0 against Palace, Eze, 1-0 against Everton, Gyökeres. And today we had Saka in his 300th appearance for the club, scoring a goal, taking us to a 1-0 victory. 5-1-0 victories for the boring Arsenal in the Premier League this season. And actually, I couldn't be happier. I couldn't be happier that we're boring. I'm happy that George Graham's style of football is getting us there. It's taken us full circle, and Arsenal have left themselves in a really strong position for the rest of the season, particularly as Man City dropped points against Nottingham Forest. So we're 7 points clear. They've got a game in hand, but 4 points if we say that they do beat Palace. And dare I say it, we could even afford to go to City and lose. Not that I want that to happen. I want us to beat City. But now it is completely in our hands. And we have a favourable running in comparison to them. I think we've had 3 really hard fixtures or 3 really intense fixtures back to back: Spurs, Chelsea, Brighton. That run was hard. We've taken 9 from 9. Wolves is but a memory, and now we can use that and use it as momentum to take us in to the rest of the season. Look, guys, Arsenal were pragmatic, and they had to get the job done. It was ugly, but ugly in this case equals points, and that's been a huge criticism of Arsenal in the past. Brighton can't have too many complaints, though. They can't. They had 4 big chances. They could have scored goals to win this game, and they could have been more competitive. They didn't get the job done. So that is their problem. We had Raya really mess up in the opening, Gabs' block, that Raya save, gorgeous save, and then they missed from the corner. So all in all, Fabian Hurts to look and say what he likes, but actually, Brighton could and should have taken something from the game. That's on them. Very quick mention. Thank God we signed Hincapie. Thank God we managed to sign Hincapie. There's been criticism of Andre Berta over the last couple of months, particularly in some of the signings he's made, the attitude towards Gyökeres, Mendy falling off a little bit. Hincapie, deadline loan signing with an option to buy, has proven to be an absolute masterclass of business. He has been so strong next to Gabriel this last month, and he's really helped drag the team through when we've been in hard places. And thanks to him, we can be looking at the last 3 results and thinking, actually, if Hincapie doesn't play, we might not have the points that we do currently have. So I think that having Hincapie next to Gabs, even with Mosquera coming in, who was looking a little bit shaky, did get the early yellow, Arsenal was still able to competently get the job done. So great performance by all of the defenders, Raya included. Going forward, still very shaky. And actually, it didn't start to look better, really, until we had that triple substitution. I know it wasn't really a triple substitution, but particularly when Trossard and Havertz came on, all of a sudden Arsenal were able to keep the ball. And because of that, we were holding the ball up. We were able to get ourselves organised. And it just shows how important Havertz is to this team. And I really hope that Havertz is going to be available for the final 9-game run-in, because we are going to need him. Make no mistake about it. We need Havertz for this run-in. He is the missing link in all of this. And if Arsenal go on to win the league, I genuinely believe it will be because Havertz has something to say about it. I mean, to come back to this ugly side of football, I heard on TalkSport that Alan Pardew said that if Arsenal do win the league, there should be an asterisk next to their name. Like just absolute, just shabby journalism. The reality is, and the truth is, I would love to see invincible football. I would love to see the Thierry Henry Bergkamp kind of link ups up front. We don't have that. And actually, football's changed. And people say that the quality at the top or the quality of the Premier League has dropped off. I don't agree with that. I do think there is there is a case to be had that the quality of the league has dropped off of the top, but the floor of the league has risen. And I genuinely believe that, with the exception of Burnley. I think Wolves were not a bad team. They just fell off the edge of the cliff, but even they're showing some form. The ceiling of the league has risen, and that means it is harder to beat teams. And teams have also got savvy. You know, over the last 10 years, we've had this wonderful football of Klopp and Pep, and this Pep and Klopp rivalry that has really lifted the heights of what, I don't know, attacking football looks like. But because of that, these mid-table, lower table teams have wisened up, and it means that they've introduced, you know, this low block has come into play, and it's become harder to score goals and to have this free-flowing football. And Arsenal are carrying the brunt of this because it's this season, but Arsenal are a product of this. You know, I've watched some wonderful players play for Arsenal and played beautiful football that never won Premier Leagues and perhaps deserved to have Premier Leagues for Arsenal. Robin Van Persie pains me as it does to say it. Fabregas pains me as it does to say it. Alexis Sanchez, Mesut Ozil, Aubameyang even. These wonderful football players coming through Arsenal, playing wonderful football, but not getting the Premier League at the end of it. And so Arteta's adapted. He's adapted the style of football, and it's meant that Arsenal, when they were once considered a soft touch, are now much tougher. Instead of being the bully, they are the bully. They are pushing around the other players. They are taking the initiative. I've watched so many Arsenal, and I think Arsenal play clean generally, right? But I've watched so many Arsenal players in the past have injury-reducing, ending careers. You look at Diaby, you look at Eduardo, you look at Ramsey, Wilshere. These people have taken horrible challenges because they've been considered a soft touch. Arsenal aren't that anymore. And you're seeing all of that happen, and it's laying out in front of us this season. And because of that, Arsenal will potentially go on and win this league and are now favourites to do so. And they should go on to do so. Make no mistake about it. If they don't, it's going to be a monumental failure from this point, in my opinion. But Arsenal are getting results any way they can. And in all honesty, they're a bit of a throwback. They're a throwback to those late 80s, early 90s George Graham teams. They are tough, they are drilled, and they are resilient. And because of that, they are beating teams 1-0. They are beating teams 2-1. They've lost 3 games this season in all competitions by the odd goal, and they've all been in the league. We are being gaslit, I believe, into massively underestimating just how good they are. And Fabian Herzler was crying in the media after the game with just such lazy analysis of Arsenal and how only one team came here to play. It's embarrassing. It is embarrassing. Saying that Arsenal were slowing the game down, and that's what teams do when they're trying to win a game. They're trying to manage a game, they're not playing well. But let's not forget that there were times where your players were stopping Arsenal from releasing the ball quickly. And the game was in play for something like 58 or 50, 55, 58 minutes. Well, actually, that's not far off the average in the league anyway. So I feel like that's kind of like a made-up number. And percentage-wise, Arsenal games, this is where it makes me laugh the most. Percentage-wise, Arsenal games have the ball in play longer than games that Brighton do. Percentage-wise, the ball is in play longer when Arsenal play than when Brighton do in their own games. And I think that says a lot as well. For me, it sounds like Fabian Herzler is looking for an excuse, a desperate excuse because he's won 3 games, this year? And Brighton's form is woeful. Without Danny Welbeck, I think it would look even worse. So I think there's an element that Fabian Hertz is trying to deflect because you're going after the team that's top in the league. And it's a little bit desperate. So all in all, Arsenal puts out a strong performance. They are ridiculed for it by the media, Alan Pardew. They are ridiculed it by managers. Then you have the Fabian Hertzlers of the world. You have teams saying things, players saying things in their after-match reports, whatever. It's all nonsense. Don't be gaslit, Arsenal fans. Arsenal are getting the job done dirty when before we were getting criticised for not being able to do it at all. As always, thank you for watching. My name's Rob. This is the Boring AFC with a very boring and very satisfying 1-0 win over Brighton. I am trying to get to 50 subscribers so I can stream live and interact with you guys. I'd be really grateful if you could subscribe and to help me get there. And until next time, come on the Gunners.